Hey, welcome back to Get Down to Business. Joining us today is an award-winning architect, author, and fierce advocate for diversity in design. She's the founder and principal of AP Monarch, a sustainability-focused architecture firm, as well as the founder at Architina, a powerful nonprofit organization dedicated to mentoring and advancing Latina women towards professional licensure. Despite Latina women making up a mere 2% of licensed architects in the United States, she's actively changing that statistic. She's the author and driving force behind the powerful Latinas in Architecture series, and she joins us today on the heels of releasing Latinas in Architecture Volume 3. Welcome to the show, Alicia Ponce.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here. Shalom.
Absolutely. Alicia, you have now published 3 volumes of Latinas in Architecture. When you launched the first volume back in 2021, what was the immediate catalyst that made you realize these stories could no longer wait to be told?
I realized that the stories that were being told, that were written by 18 different authors, that they were very powerful in for the co-authors themselves, and powerful for the readers in learning about the journey of becoming an architect, the challenges and the hurdles, and how these co-authors overcame those hurdles. Very powerful.
Indeed, very powerful. But the statistics in your industry, Alicia, are stark. Latino women make up only 2% of licensed architects in the United States. When you look at the trajectory of a young Latina entering this field, what are the primary systemic barriers that continue to keep that number so low?
There are several, and one of them is the representation and mentorship required. Sometimes it's often needed in this profession, whether it's in academics when you're studying to become an architect, and then you get your first job at a firm, whether it's a large firm or a small firm. There's a lack of mentorship for women to become licensed. It's a very white male dominated field, and so you don't see a lot of women in general, not have in the past, and even less Latinas in the industry. And I think that mentorship is really important, and I'm not saying that it doesn't exist, but it exists in a different way, in that, sometimes you can see the connections with younger men with the older principals that are also men, and saying, why don't we go to a golf outing? Kind of that still good old boys club culture, and why would and that doesn't exist with women, and even less with Latinas. So, and then the other thing is that there's a large pay gap too. Even though we earn the same degree, we work the same hours, there's a significant difference in the pay gap that has been seen, that has been talked to in our profession. And so when you're trying to pay for these exams and working long hours, those are true systemic barriers as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And you founded Architina specifically to solve this problem by helping women navigate the rigorous path to licensure. How exactly does your program structure mentorship to take an aspiring designer and turn them into a fully licensed leader?
Yes, so the Architina was founded because I myself just went through those barriers and those challenges. And more than anything, it was a very lonely journey to go through the licensing exams. At the time, there was 9 different exams, but now there are 6 different exams. Doesn't mean that the content went away. It's just now it's more with mentors who are licensed, and we talk about this journey, you're not alone anymore. The message is, I also went through those challenges. I also started my business, or I also had children. I also take care of my parents, and I work long hours. And by the way, I did it. I became licensed. So let's get you on that path to licensure. And when somebody sees you in that way, it's possible. When you see that path is possible, then it's hopeful, and it becomes more realistic and attainable for you to do that. And our cohorts also offer scholarships for study resources that are also very expensive and necessary to help pass that exam.
That's
So
powerful. And briefly, before we cut to break, exactly as you just said, you're running a highly successful architecture firm while simultaneously leading nonprofit and publishing initiatives. You're proving it is real. And I know in volume 3, you feature contributors balancing their roles. Is there a core lesson about resilience that you want to leave our listeners with before we cut to break?
it is just it's really finding your tribe, right? And understanding the challenges that we have. And yeah, it's making sure that people understand you, people see you, and find the support that you need to be able to, you know, do this beautiful profession.
Alicia, you were talking to us before the break and have emphasized that architecture is about far more than just designing physical buildings. How can intentional architectural design actively shape healthier, more equitable communities? And why is that foundational to your firm's mission?
I I was really it's really important to me because well, just think about it. Like, how much time did you spend indoors today, or really throughout your lifetime? As human beings, we spend time 90% of our time indoors, and we want to make those buildings healthy. We want to be able to feel good in these buildings, and that has a trickle effect on what's outside, what's in the community. It has a trickle effect, a positive one, um, when when a space is healthy.
Mm. And in your latest volume of Latinas in Architecture, you feature contributors from incredibly diverse cultural backgrounds across both the United States and Latin America. Despite their completely different geographical and personal journeys, what common thematic threads emerged when he brought their stories together?
Oh my gosh, that is so easy. It was very evident still from volume one to volume three. It's definitely our families. Our families really support us and help us get through any of these challenges. And it's our grit and our resilience and our love for the field.
I love it. And finally, you've described the women in your books as changing the demographic one Latina at a time. I love that. For the firm's principals, university leaders, and executives listening to our voice right now, I'm going to give you a minute and a half. What specific call to action do they need to heed over the next decade to ensure the profession evolves?
Yeah, well, it's really looking at the value that is added by all these different lived experiences. And the co-authors are different ages, like you said, from different cultural backgrounds, different countries. And it's amazing to see how these lived experiences enrich the design solutions, the communities that we live in, the spaces that we enjoy for entertainment, for learning, and for healing. All of that just becomes a much richer experience. And getting the opportunity to do that, allowing different perspectives, just makes it again a much more richer experience all around.
Amazing. Again, I've been chatting with the absolutely amazing, and indeed, it's not just me saying that. She's an award winning architect, author, and fierce advocate for diversity and design. I've been chatting with Alicia Ponce, the founder and principal of AP Monarch, a sustainability focused architecture firm, as well as the founder of Architina, a powerful nonprofit organization dedicated to mentoring and advancing Latina women towards professional licensure. She's also the author of Latinas in Architecture, now on volume number 3. Alicia, how can we find these books? How can we get in touch with you? And how can we continue to follow your inspiring work?
Yeah, I'd be happy to share. Well, number one, you can go to our website, arquitina.org, arquitina.org. We also have a social media. You can find us on Instagram and LinkedIn. And we have a YouTube channel. Please, I invite you to see our YouTube videos to learn more about our work and learn about our future architects and our mentors who help them get there. Our books can be found on our website. They're all there. And I invite you to read them and chime in the conversation and let us know your thoughts.
Amazing, Alicia. Thank you so much for inspiring us. That is a wrap for us this week on Get Down to Business, the show all about small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship. Get on my website, syklein.com. Go on your favorite podcast app. Just make sure you search for Get Down to Business, subscribe, rate, review, and share so you don't miss a single episode. To success, let's get down to business. We'll see you right back here next week, the same time on AM 560 The Answer.